because I'm a judge. And he's like, wait, no, you're not a judge. She's like, yeah, I am. Something like, yeah. And then what's really funny, I find after all of this, because it's two times someone has pulled over a judge, and I've seen these clips. It's always like right afterwards, like, oh, we don't need to make a big deal about this, and they start
They
backpedaling.
backpedal.
Yes. And with that being said, I work in a business where I have lots of contact with police officers, and I never in a professional setting or in a personal setting have ever had any issues. So,
I think I think police officers are one of those like 1% style of rules. Like when it comes to motorcycle gangs, they say 1% of all motorcycle MC clubs are active criminals or actually criminals or whatever the case. I think it's that same way with cops because if you give a certain type of person power, they will abuse and use it. It's been proven psychological study after psychological study that that happens. One of my favorite is where they had the inmate
yeah, the study
study.
from Stanford, yeah.
So the inmate study was they took a bunch of willing participants, half of them were the inmates, and a few of them were the corrections officers. They gave the corrections officers glasses and power, and just after a few weeks, the corrections officers were already actively abusing their power by abusing the inmates. That's the long and the short of it. Definitely go look it up. It's fascinating.
And that was just pretend.
Yeah, and it was just pretend. It was they weren't actually corrections officers. They
They
were
weren't
just put
actually
in that position of
criminals.
power.
Yeah, just given that. And I think one of the things on there, one of the actors or the actors they portrayed, in the story, they psychologically picked certain people because of that predisposition
Hmm.
to abuse. And again, like going off of limited information that I've absorbed, Google your
We're
own.
digesting the internet as we know it.
There's two main personalities that go into law enforcement. I don't know what they are, but I know that there are two main groups, there are two
Hmm.
main psychological profiles that go into law enforcement.
Yeah, there was a psychologist, or I think he's a businessman. He's really hyper intelligent. He was talking about how psychopathy is in humans and what professions that they're attracted to. And they're like, most of the psychopaths are attracted to these type, the number one profession is this for the people who exhibit psychopathic traits. Have to walk on eggshells because I'm paraphrasing this right now, and it has to do with the special forces in the military. They draw the most people who have the psychopathy traits to that profession.
In a societal standing, not picking on anyone or anything like that, because of a lot of respect for those folks in the armed forces. But if you lay out like all of the jobs and what they're allowed to do and the rules that they're allowed to follow, like you're saying, so I can go into a situation where I'm allowed to do blank, blank, and blank, and I'm not
Hmm.
going to be held accountable,
Yep.
like that would draw a certain
Yeah.
aspect of mindset.
The rest of that top 10 list or whatever you want
Yeah,
to call it
yeah,
is like where people get to stab people, cut people open, those types of um, jobs. So,
interesting.
doctors, surgeons, nurses, all that stuff draws that type of person. I'm just
No, I mean you
pontificating the information that I have absorbed. I could be wrong. This is just my opinion, blah, blah, blah.
with enough consumer information on folks. I mean, again, you have the predisposition to like, it's like you have a 97% chance of like, well, let's use the riots, for example. I guarantee you someone's got enough information on all of us to be able to pinpoint your percentage on rioting. They're like, this person's got a 67% chance of being a rioter. This person's got an 87% chance by all
Yeah,
these criteria points, or they call it data points, all these
yeah.
data points on them. Like, yeah, so is that wrong? No. Is it, understandable? Like, I guess that's the whole gaff when it comes to stereotypes.